steak and bacon skewers. This is one of my favorite recipes that I've ever actually made, and it's inspired by a Turkish way of making skewers. It was also made super famous by one of my great friends, Salva La Cocina. Today, let's make that recipe over the fire. I have a massive hunk of sirloin steaks. I just pulled these guys out of the freezer. They're thawed, but I put them in the freezer really quick so that they kind of firm up because they're a lot easier to slice. But we got a lot of sirloin steak because we're gonna use this as basically the base of the skewer. I recommend getting like the whole sirloin. It's a little easier, but we can make it work with this. I'm gonna take the fat caps off, mostly because it adds a whole extra level of complexity for making the skewers. All right, so we got that fat off the side. I'm gonna slice this lengthwise in half with a super sharp knife. Be careful of your fingies. So we're gonna set this to the side and we're gonna do it for the rest of these guys. How's everybody's day going? Everybody good? Yeah? Dude, this knife freaks me out, man. And I know I don't have the most amazing knife skills, but like, good Lord. Okay, so now we have all this sliced in half, and so we're gonna flatten them out. Ah! Boom, and that's kind of what we're looking for. This is what happens if you don't like this recipe. Subscribe or else. It's kind of hard to talk while I'm smashing meat, but it's having a good time smashing meat. Should probably stop phrasing it that way. Just love smashing meat with the boys. Dude, what the hell? Everything's falling over here.
Now new at 5, the Mid-South is hit by a series of small earthquakes.
Okay, cool. So all the steak is smashed and it's everywhere, and we destroyed everything in the process. Let's start building these skewers. I have all the steak, just set that over to the side, and we're just gonna start laying this out flat. So I want these to kind of overlap. I'm just building like a square rectangle kind of vibe. Now I'm just gonna kind of lightly smash these guys together so that they kind of sit together, but don't worry, we're gonna throw this into the fridge so that they all kind of firm up together. So first layer is done. Second layer, we're gonna add just a little bit of parsley, a little bit of garlic. Mix this all around. Now let's work on the next layer. All right, next layer is some beautiful bacon, and we're just gonna lay it over the top of the steak. So I used sirloin today, but if you wanted to use something other than sirloin, I would recommend, you could probably use chuck, you could probably use it with picanha, you could definitely use it with flank. Like you could fillet open a flank in half and flatten that out. I mean, if you really wanted to be expensive, you could definitely use like a beef tenderloin. I think that sirloin is the best because it's tender and it's also not expensive. So we have all of our bacon laid out completely. Let's go get the sausage. All right, so this is ground Italian sausage. We're just gonna do a thin layer, not a lot. This is optional. You do not need to do this. I think that the sausage adds a fun little extra element of flavor into the skewer. Got that good. Now let's add in, this is our middle layer. So now we're gonna add in bacon. So we start all over again. And don't worry about it being like not completely, you know, like the bacon kind of overstretching onto the meat and stuff like that. We're gonna trim it up tomorrow. After it sets in the fridge, we'll make them into more perfect squares the next day. But this size should make us probably about 4 skewers, but they'll be big skewers. So you could make, it'll feed about 4 or 5 people. So we got everything on there, the parsley and the garlic. Also, don't worry about seasonings. We're gonna season the outside tomorrow. Now we add our steak back. All right, so let's cover this guy in foil. I'm gonna place him in the fridge overnight so everything just like firms up together, and then we're gonna work on the skewers tomorrow. So we let this sit overnight in the fridge. I added it into the freezer about an hour ago to just really let it firm up. All right, let's check this out. Not too shabby. I'm gonna completely pull it out. This is the benefit of foil lining. It really is up to you if you wanna like cut off the edges. I like to cut them off so it kind of makes even squares and we don't have all this like excess bacon that is gonna be flopping around. So that's what I'm gonna do. If you don't wanna do that, you wanna save it all, you do you. See how relatively easy it is to cut? That just means it's nice and firm, and it's been sitting in that freezer and fridge. It's all homogeneous. One of my favorite things to do is I like to just score the top really quick to make sure I have even distribution. I really like to do that just because it just helps in making sure that everything sticks together and you get like all relatively similar sizes. If you get some of the sausage pressing out, that's totally fine. Also, if you have like meat that isn't fully sticking, that's also fine. Biggest key though is really make sure that you fully slice through. Bacon is notorious for making you think that you sliced through, but you did not. All right, and then from here, I'm gonna slice these into cubes. And there you go. We have our first cubey cube. I talked about it yesterday, but I saw this recipe by a Turkish chef many, many years ago. The Turks are very notorious for making really awesome, crazy skewers. I have had it saved for a while, and then I had a really good friend of mine named Salva out of South America kind of do his own little spin on this recipe, and I thought, dang it, all right, it's time to give it a try. He does not add the sausage. I like adding the sausage just because it's fun and it adds a little extra flavor, a little bit more texture. It's a fun way of like making more than just one meat on a skewer. And then also, if you guys have any of these that are like slightly falling apart, don't worry about it. They're gonna get skewered up. Just kind of reform them as best as you can and you'll be good to go. The colder they are, like the more almost frozen they are, the better. Not fully frozen though. I did that with my chicken skewer version of this. I ended up with like a big old bruise on my finger from slicing so hard through. That's my smoker telling me that it's ready to go. We're not even cooking these on the smoker. This is just doing multiple videos in a day. All right, perfect. Not gonna set my knife there. I've learned my lesson. All right, so now we have everything sliced up. Now we skewer. I have all the meat facing away and you just skewer these boys up. I've been doing this for almost 8 years. I would say that I do have one of the easiest jobs in the world. I will never take that for granted. However, it definitely has its moments of stress, as with every job. And so YouTube shoots like today they're a little stressful. I got a lot of different food cooking all at the same time. It all has to look perfect or else people on the internet will be pissed. I really love my life. And I'm very thankful for everything that I have. And I really, honestly, I wouldn't have it if it weren't for people like you that are watching this video. So just want to say thank you. I do think though that creativity is tough. I will also say too, there is no new recipe. And there's a lot of people out there that claim that they came up with something and they definitely did not. Don't believe any chef on the internet that says that they invented something, except for my great friend Brad Perose, who runs Chili's and Smoke, because he's one of the most inventive recipe developers I have ever met. Highly recommend going and following him. He has a killer YouTube channel. Boom, boom, boom. From here, I like to season. You really actually don't need to. There's a lot of flavor in this, but I'm just gonna add a little dusting of my cowboy butter rub. As always, make sure to season your cutting board. You could also just use a little salt, pepper, garlic, or your favorite beef rub. Barbecue rub would be really good too. Just whatever flavor you're really feeling. This recipe can work with just about any seasoning and flavor. All right, and then I like to just press them a little firm so they kind of like you make sure that they're really sticking together. These are ready to hit the grill, so I'm just gonna add these guys on. These are just gonna take maybe about 15 minutes to cook over a medium heat or so. I'm gonna go grab my coffee and sit back and enjoy. All right, so the skewers are good. They're just sitting on the grill. Let's start building out this platter. I have some air fried French fries. So I'm gonna lay these completely out on the platter, nice and flat. Normally, if you're just like serving this at home, you could totally just serve the fries on the side, but I'm a YouTuber and I have to make this look super duper beautiful. My skewers, and we're just gonna lay them over the top. I have chimichurri because I like chimichurri, but you're more than welcome to add like a little bit of butter, honestly anything, or you could just eat them like this, but I'm just gonna add just a little bit of chimichurri. Bam, look at that. you're ready to go. Pull these guys right off of the skewer and take a little bite. Bam. Juicy. Look at that juice drip. Juice drip. Oh, ah! That's really good. So good. That really is incredible. Like I was saying in the beginning, you can easily make this with whatever you really want to. I've made it with chicken thighs instead of steak and it's super good. You could use pork loin instead of the steak. You don't even need to use the sausage. You could use spicy sausage. You know, take out the bacon, add in prosciutto or salami or like something else fun. Overall, 10 out of 10. This was absolutely amazing. So freaking delicious. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Tell me in the comments what kind of skewers you would like me to do next. And if you tried out this recipe, tell me how much you like it. If you tried it and you didn't like it, then don't tell me. Go and check out all my gear, my seasonings, all that fun stuff in the description below, as well as the recipe for how to make this on my website. And as always, stay so freaking delicious. Cheers.